Okay, so I'm just going to do 77, and when I do 77, you can apply that in 70, 78. Right, let's look at these labor productivity ratios. Labor productivity ratios. Let's start with the first one, labor activity. So labor activity is really set right at the beginning. We have an expectation. We have an expectation of how hard our people should work, don't we? But you see, the point here is that you also, when you plan these things, you have an expectation of how hard they should work, and you also expect that there will be some idle time. You expect that they also need to take a break. So, for example, here, just because you budget that um, that they should take the reason why you've budgeted, let's put it that way, or let's put it that way. Yes, it takes the standard hours to make a certain something is 3,502, but you don't create a budget for 3,502. You know they're going to need to relax a little, have some air, they'll be able to breathe, take a few breaks. So you budget excess, a bit of an excess of that. And that budget, if you like, is the 3,630. So you expect this degree of activity. This is the sort of activity, and it's just an expectation. So in effect, you could argue that you expect an idle time variance of the difference, right, over 3,630. And they haven't asked you for that, for the expectation. They haven't asked you for the expectation, but if they asked you for the expectation of that of that of that um with the, of the expectation, that would have been 128 over 3630. That would have been the expectation, not the actual idle time, just the expectations, because you can do idle time analysis, can't you, versus what it actually was, and we're going to look at that later in terms of the actual idle time analysis. So the first answer here is 3502 divided by 3,630, and when we do that, we have 3502 divided by 3,630, and then we multiply that. So we have 96.5. I'll put it at 5%. Yeah, it says to one decimal place. Perfect. Now, the next ratio we've done before. We've done a lot of that. That's all we've been doing all the time. Um, this is the activity ratio and the idle time are probably the new ones, but this one is saying again that listen, how long? This is all about efficiency of doing this. How long are we expecting our people to work? So it says the standard hours for work are 3,502. So I'm expecting 3,502. What actually happened? So you actually did it in actual hours spent was 3,471. So the way this is looked at is that we want a bigger number, if you like, we want a percentage, we want a percentage greater than one. You see, because what's happened here is we want you to do the work in less time. Think of it like that. So we expect you to do it in 3,502. You do it in this case 3,471. So that's efficient. That's efficient. That's even better than what we expected, and we multiply that by 100%. So in effect, this is really measuring the speed. We want you to do it faster than we, if you like, than what we set. We want you to do it faster than what we set, and that's why we compare, of course, what we expect of you versus what you actually do um, on that job. And that's the efficiency variance. So 3502 minus 3471. Sorry, 3502 divided by 3471, and that's 100.9. 100 is 100.9% is what I get. Right, idle time, again, of course, we did this in class, but it might be a new one for you. But really, what we're really saying here is how much time were you milling around? What is the idle time ratio? So how do I know this? Well, here it is, simply, really, I mean, idle time is to do with pay. If I'm paying you people for 3,710 and you're only actually working for 3,471, well, that is the idle time. And of course, I will take this as a percentage of the total time I've paid you for. And like I said earlier, I can go along and compare this with my standard acceptable idle time, which would be based on my labor expert. So here, my standard idle time, of course, would have been 3.5. That's what I'm expecting, because activity, if activity is 96.5, idle time is 3.5%. And so your idle time ratio of course, is this thing here, which is 3710 minus 3471 divided by 3710, which is 6.4%. So you had an idle time situation of 6.4%. Cool, great stuff. And that's how we deal with question 77. If you apply that to 78, you'll be fine.